Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever bought a tool and it turned out to be, well, more than just a tool, like an experience? Today, we're doing a deep dive into something really quite unique. The Tamiya 74041 Electric Handy Drill. This isn't your usual power tool you just grab off the shelf. Nope, it's a kit. You actually build it yourself.
Yeah, and what's fascinating, I think, is how that just perfectly captures Tamiya's whole philosophy, doesn't it? That, intrinsic satisfaction you get from the build process itself. It creates this kind of meta experience. You're literally building the tool that you're then going to use to build your other models. It's quite clever, really.
And its main job. What's it actually for?
Well, it's designed to tackle a really common and deeply frustrating problem for modelers, heat damage.
Exactly. Your standard high-speed rotary tools, like, say, a Dremel, they spin at thousands of RPM. Way too fast for delicate plastic sometimes. They can easily melt or warp the parts you're working on.
Right. But this Tamiya drill, it reportedly spins at, around 450 RPM? Much slower. So the idea is it cuts cleanly, gives you crisp holes without melting everything. Precisely. So our mission today for this deep dive is to really explore this unique tool. We want to uncover its surprising strengths, but also its pretty critical flaws, and maybe reveal how a little bit of modding, as they say, can actually transform it into something quite specialized.
Okay, so Tamiya is big on the build experience. How does that actually play out when you assemble this drill? You mentioned it's like a kit.
Yeah, the assembly itself is pretty straightforward. It really does feel like building one of their simpler mechanical model kits. You get the sprues with plastic parts. There's the little FA130 motor, standard Tamiya stuff.
But there's a catch, isn't there? Gotcha.
Yes. There's a really critical insight from the build process, particularly during the final assembly stage. The main plastic casing, the body of the drill, it can flex quite a bit, actually. We found one user reporting they just, quote, couldn't screw the body tight enough to stop the drill shaft from wavering.
Wavering, so that's the infamous wobble people talk about.
That's it. It points to a pretty fundamental design challenge right from the get-go. This flex leads to run out at the bit.
I remember melting plastic with my first Dremel on, like a really crucial part, total nightmare. So I definitely see the appeal of this low RPM thing. But if it wobbles so much, wouldn't most modelers just say forget it and stick with the Dremel, even with the melting risk? What's the draw?
Well, that low RPM advantage really is its core strength. It genuinely cuts the plastic instead of melting it. Users describe the holes as perfect, smooth, nice and round, things that are actually quite hard to achieve with the Dremel on plastic. Plus, the pistol grip design. People seem to really like it for comfort and, control.
Okay, so it does have that specialized strength, but where else does it fall short, beyond that flexing casing you mentioned?
Right, this is where the paradox kind of kicks in. It's designed for precision, supposedly.
Yeah.
But it's plagued by this significant wobble or runout at the drill bit itself.
Yeah.
And it's not just the casing flex. There's also reports of quite a bit of slop where the bearing holds the drill shaft.
A bearing? Or is it a bushing, initially?
Good point. Initially, it's a plastic bushing, which adds to the slop. And on top of that, the stock collet chucks the ball down. The things that hold the drill bit are often described as, badly manufactured. You can sometimes see them visibly running untrue, wobbling even before you put a bit in.
Wow. And they don't hold many bit sizes either, right?
Exactly. Very limited range, just 1 millimeter to 3 millimeter stock. And the grip isn't great. Bits can apparently just fall out sometimes. Oh, and it's only single speed. No adjustment there.
So this raises a big question for you listening at home.
Yeah.
How can a tool that's supposed to be about precision have so much, imprecision built in? Does that just end up being more frustrating, or is there something else going on here?
It's interesting, isn't it, that wobble?
Yeah.
It's almost like it's not just a flaw for some Tamiya fans.
Yeah.
It's like the next step of the build. It's kind of like Tamiya is inviting you, the builder, to refine their tool, just like you refine your scale models.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a paradox. You trade that heat damage risk for this initial imprecision and limited versatility. But, and this is key, it opens the door to this idea that, the process of fixing the problem, of overcoming the challenge, that's part of the hobby too. This drill is kind of a perfect little example of that whole Tamiya ethos.
So knowing Tamiya and their whole RC car scene with all the upgrades, does this wobble issue actually make it a perfect candidate for that hop-up culture?
Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. The tool's real potential, many would argue, is only unlocked when you start modifying it. And the first, most essential upgrade is definitely that inadequate chuck system.
Right. Get rid of the wobbly bit holder.
Exactly. You can swap it for high-quality alternatives.
Wow.
Things like Hardened steel 3-slot collets from Proxen. I think the part number is 28940 to EVI. Or even just generic Dremel-compatible keyless chucks. Those can dramatically cut down the runout and let you use a much wider range of drill bits.
And what about that sloppy plastic bushing at the front you mentioned?
Yes, that's the other big one. Highly recommended to replace that plastic bushing with a standard 1150 size ball bearing. That's a super common part in Tamiya RC cars, used for, making things spin smoothly. Putting one in the drill drastically reduces that shaft play and makes the whole front end much more stable.
Okay, so chuck upgrade, bearing upgrade.
Yeah, those systematic upgrades, they really transform the drill. They turn it into a superb, specialized tool that honestly doesn't have a direct competitor for this kind of low-speed, precision plastic work. Some adventurous folks even swap out the motor for faster Mini 4WD hop-up motors.
Oh, really? But wouldn't that just bring back the melting problem?
It could, yeah. That's only really viable if you also add some kind of variable speed control, so you can dial it back down for plastics. Otherwise, you defeat the whole purpose.
So, for you, the modeler listening, how does this modified Tamiya drill stack up against the other options? Like a simple manual pin vise or the Dremel we keep mentioning, or maybe one of those newer electric pen drills like a Wow Stick. I mean, doesn't all this modding just sound like a ton of extra hassle for something that maybe should have just worked properly from the start?
It's a fair point. But for the dedicated Tamiya enthusiast, the person who actually enjoys the building and tinkering process, and who is willing to do those essential upgrades, the modified Tamiya Handy Drill really does carve out its own niche. It becomes this ideal tool for precision drilling in plastic where heat is your enemy. Like, say, installing tiny hop-up parts on a Tamiya Grasshopper chassis, perfect example. It stops being just about making a hole and becomes about the satisfaction of making a perfect hole, using a tool you've personally refined.
Right. So the Tamiya Handy Drill, yeah, it's flawed out of the box, no doubt about it. But it really embodies this unique philosophy where the tool itself is kind of part of the hobby journey. It's a testament maybe to the idea that sometimes that journey of improving something, customizing it, is just as rewarding as the end result.
Exactly. And that raises a really interesting question for any hobbyist, doesn't it? When does a tool that's technically flawed become more like a feature-rich project? And how much time are you personally willing to invest in that transformation? It challenges us to look past those first impressions, maybe see the hidden potential for making something truly your own, something bespoke.
Definitely something to mull over as you think about your next build and perhaps your next tool purchase.